So in our relish, we're going to put white vinegar, water, some sugar, concassed tomatoes. Now, concassed is really just a fancy way of saying tomatoes that have been cooked to the point where you can peel the skin and seed them. You really don't want any of that skin in there. It gives it an off chew, so you just want to have the flesh of the tomato. Okay, we're going to start by adding our vinegar and water, putting in our sugar, our onions, our concassed tomatoes, pinch of salt. You're going to let that just slowly simmer down. So to let it simmer, you just want it on a medium heat. Just it gets a small roll to it. It'll cook down your onions, but it'll be enough not to change the texture of the tomato too much. Okay, once you've given that a stir, you can pretty much leave it, let it simmer for a little bit. If you notice that it's getting more of a rolling boil, move it away from the heat and just stir it again. You just don't want it to burn to the bottom. It shouldn't though because of the moisture content, but just be careful and give it a little stir again.
One of the great things of being at Fort Gibraltar is Festival de Voyageurs that occurs every year in February. And being the official caterer at Fort Gibraltar, we have the privilege to come up with a new cocktail that's winter and Festival inspired. What we're creating today is a signature cocktail for this year to pair with our tortillere. Tortillere is usually served with a bit of ketchup on the side. So what we've done is we've gone the Caesar route. We've added caribou, we've added whiskey, and of course bacon, which is always a great ingredient. So the first thing you want to do is work on the rim of the glass and the rimmer. So I'm just going to make that right now, and what I have is peppercorns, bacon, and celery salt. So whenever possible, use whole herbs or whole spices, and you grind them. So I'll just bring this right here. Start with the peppercorns in. We want to grind them. What we're doing is we're kind of releasing all the flavors. Next we have the bacon. So for the bacon, what we've done is we had raw applewood smoked bacon. We cooked it at a low temperature till it was dried into dried bacon, and then we just cut it with a knife here, where it's going to the mortar and pestle to mix in with the peppercorns. So we're going to grind this down quite nicely. And then we add some celery salt, which is typically what you would put on a Caesar, but you can use all different kinds of things. And once we ground it down, we're just going to sift it, just to make it, get rid of the whole peppercorns and that sort of thing. But what we have here now is the rimmer. So we just put it in with the rest of our rimmer that we've already made. And now we're ready. So usually you would use, you would add all the ingredients to the glass, but what we're going to do is we're going to do something called a rolling technique, which is really good with cocktails. What I'll do is I'll fill this, with ice. And I like stainless steel because what it does is it moves the cold flavor through the beverage and that sort of thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our liquor ingredients. First item is caribou. This is a fortified wine spirit. It's got rum, it's got whiskey, it's got all these great things in there. We're going to do a ½ ounce of that. And then we're going to do a ½ ounce of nice Canadian whiskey, which is in there. So we're bringing up the alcohol content in the drink a bit. Okay, so now that all the ingredients are in there, we're just going to go with the salt and pepper, and then our spices as well. Okay, so salt, you want to do about 2 or 3 little dashes of salt. And then we do the pepper, about the same, a little less, because we've got a lot of pepper on the rim there. Now, with Leon Parents, that's the spiciness. So we want to go about 4, because it's nice to have a little spicy. And then the Tabasco is the hot in the drink, so depending on what you want, usually 2 to 3 drops is good for there. So then next is the clamato. Now clamato is a mixture of tomato juice and clam juice. And it's something that is very Canadian. If you go into the States and or Caesar, they'll know it as a Bloody Mary without the clam juice. Now we're into the rolling technique, which is basically moving the cocktail from glass to glass. When you move it from glass to glass, it mixes all the ingredients together. Next, we want to just keep the ice in the container, and there we have a Caesar. So now we're going to do the garnish, and typically what you would use is something like a piece of celery and that sort of thing in there. It's great with the celery salt, but since we've changed the recipe a little bit, we're going to do some other garnishes. You always want to use a straw, in case you want to sip through the straw and have that kind of experience. Next is a green bean. This is a pickled green bean. And then we also have some pickled asparagus that we pickled as well. And last and not least, since it's a bacon Caesar, a nice slice of bacon. So that is the Caribou Whiskey Bacon Caesar from Fort Gibraltar. So enjoy our signature cocktail next time you're at Fort Gibraltar and during Festival.